beloved viewer, and welcome to the program. Today being 27 March 2019. It's a blessed day that we have here. And as always, this is Teens Talk, where we talk about the matters that are affecting our youth. And today on the program, we'll be discussing about drugs and drug substance among the teenage. And today we are privileged because we have a guest on the studio, and we'll be talking more about why the increase in the usage of drugs among the youth. Work with us until the end of the show because we have so much aligned for you. Remember, you can talk to us through our SMS number, which is 33577. You can also send in your request, your concern, your comment through our Facebook social media platforms, through our Facebook page at NIBS TV, Instagram, Twitter at NIBS College. And we also have the audience with us. They will be sending in their concerns, their comments, and what they feel is the real issue about the drugs. Karibuni sana. And thank you, Mr. John Mwangi, for joining our studio today.
Welcome.
You're most welcome here. And according to the statistics that has been done by the organization that deals with drugs abuse, that is NACADA, the latest statistics shows that the increase in the usage of drugs among the teenage has really increased, and this has become a real menace among our youth because they kind of interfere with their lives. You as a counselor, what do you think about the issue? What are the causes of drugs substance among the youth?
There are various reasons as to why there is a high amount of teenagers who are taking drugs. The most depressing one of them is the availability. These drugs are much available than they were 20, 30 years ago. The second ones are problems associated with family or with society. And there are a number of these young people that are taking drugs. They are taking drugs as a substitute. There is a need in their life that is not being met, either by accident or by default.
But do you think, why would they take drugs as a substitute? What are they really lacking?
In that age, the problem is the self-identity. A number of them are suffering from low esteem. Another one want to feel in what we usually call peer pressure. Because the friends are taking drugs, they are also introduced to the drugs, and in the course of the time of them taking the drugs, you find they have become addicted.
Okay, so and what about these young people who have been influenced into drugs, and without knowing in one way or the other, as you have said, they want to fit in a certain cocoon of friends? What about them?
The problem is parenting, because it means that these young people, these teenagers, do not have good parenting. They don't have good role models. At times where parents substituted money for parenthood, just because the parent is waking up and providing for all the needs that they think that the child needs, they definitely think that money is going to substitute for parents. Because it is a problem of them at the point they are growing up. Because they are not usually like that when they are young children. So there is a stage in their life when most teenagers are looking for identity. And if the nearest identity they have is their parent, who also happen to be taking drugs. If you go to most homes, go to the fridge, you will find there are bottles there of alcohol or wines, not foodstuffs. So if the drug is as available as at the fridge at the home, and these children are watching their parents taking drugs, then they will definitely know that drugs is not a bad thing.
So the real issue that you're saying is all about parenting.
Yes.
Wow, thank you. And okay, I happened to see this friend who had school. He used to be a very good student. But once he joined a tertiary institution, he happened to find that he found a group of friends that were they were themselves, they were trying to find an identity, as you had said. And it happened that at one point or the other, this this guy was caught. Do you think the availability of the drugs into maybe the institution, they lack a very good screening of these drugs?
We usually say tertiary school or tertiary institutions are a floodgates to alcohol abuse and other drugs abuse. You don't find this big problem of drugs at secondary school because of the nature of the discipline of all our secondary schools. Because at that level, they are taken as children. But when at the point they are entering tertiary institutions, majority of those kids are at the near adult or if not adult. In terms of age, they are 18 or they are approaching 18 or they are in the tertiary institutions. Tertiary institutions also comes with a lot of freedom. And it's also a stage in time when young people will try to experiment. It's not just drugs they experiment many things. It's only that drugs is one of the things they experiment, and it brings a lot of side problems. But at that age, it is usually an age of experimenting. And in those tertiary institutions, freedom is available, money is available, and they have come of age. So they are trying to experiment anything they can get their hands on.
And what do you think is the role of the government in curbing the whole issue? Because we find that in the recent case, we found a certain governor from a certain county who was involved, who was called, they are the drugs dealers that we know, or they are being said so, they are alleged to be the drug barons and the drug dealers. What do you think the government is doing in really curbing the issue of the drugs?
Drugs is a multi-billion industry. In history, there has been very rich drug barons, either in Colombia, in Mexico, in the US. Simply it is catching up here in Africa. So drug is a multi-billion industry. At the end of that drug, there is somebody selling, that person called trafficker. He is going to sell the drug, and he's going to make the millions and the billions. So drug, the role of government is to fight the drug barons. Because it is some of these drugs, for example, cocaine or heroin, this is not a drug that grows in this country. So it's a drug that is imported.
Imported, yeah.
Yes. And for it to be imported, it is imported in different countries. It's either in Asia, that is Pakistan or India or Afghanistan, or it's in the Caribbean. So if this drug came all the way from Mexico, from Colombia, through USA, through Europe, to come to Africa, okay? It means that the problem is policing. And I understand in some countries, drug barons are the ones who call the shots because they have the money. So the government will need to do more policing. Because if these drugs do not enter the port, they don't enter either in Mombasa or in the airport in JKIA, these drugs will not be available. The drugs that will be available still will be a problem, but will be the locally available drugs. The right cannabis, sativa, or mera, or alcohol. Yes. So the government needs to do more in terms of policy.
Has the government really failed on? What do you think about that?
I think the government has had its challenges. Yes. Because we're in a corrupt society where drug balance and corruption, they go hand in hand. Yes. So you find these people who have this type of money, they can influence even those government officials. Or you can even, not surprisingly, find a member of a government itself or security organ is also a drug baron. So that will be like the highway, it's like a gateway to drugs will come.
Come in. Okay, Mr. Mongi, going back to parenting, this parent, yes, they have provided everything for this parent. And when we look at the African society setup, back then, a few years back, you would find that a child was like a property of the society.
Yes.
You'd discipline a child out there when you find him or her misbehaving. You'd even happen to find an elderly man or a woman passing by, but you would hide because of what you are doing. Has the involvement or the cultural expansion of what we used to do then and what we are doing then? Has it caused moral degradation to what we are in the society we are in today?
I would say absolutely, because what the parents have done currently, we can say they have abdicated their roles. They took modernization to be westernization, and this westernization is a creation they find in films and in videos. So they have given their children the free way. Okay, you will find even the parents themselves, forget about the society. The parents themselves are not even able to discipline their own children. So if they cannot be able to discipline their children, if another person outside that family touch that student, and that child, you find now that's a police matter.
Exactly.
Okay, so you can't go in our society. You can't go and discipline somebody's child.
And how come back then there was no such cases of high usage of drugs back then?
I believe there was still drugs then.
Yes, I know there were
those. Tobacco.
Yes, those drugs that were not hard drugs as we are in the society, and also maybe the number of the people who are affected by drugs back then.
It's a question of exposure and modernization. Back then, the drugs that were available are limited, but currently drugs are available. In those old days, only old men and the men of particular age would be allowed to go and buy alcohol in a pub. Today, alcohol is bought everywhere by it's sold to anybody. So there are moral decay, there are societal problems in Africa currently because of the element of modernization and because our African society believes that whatever was African was wrong, was primitive. So they took anything that came. Okay, so they took drugs became available. African took to them. Okay, in fact, statistics shows that it is more. If you go to, let's say, where many pubs are located, let's say bypass, you will find parents going to those pubs with their children. Yes, so they will be there taking alcohol, and then the kid will be told to go there and jump in the bouncing castle. So at the end of the day, the child is within that environment.
Exactly.
There is no way you tell that child that they cannot take that. It's only that they will not like to be in the level of their parents. So if their parents were taking alcohol and cigarettes, kids will always try to experience something bigger. So they will now hear there are new drugs. And there's an excitement when there are new drugs. Everybody wants to experiment. Yes. So you find that part of it is society, part of it is change, and also the failure of modern day parents. Because they took this thing called child liberty. Literally, as a child liberty is that the child is free to do as they want. It is not true. A child is not allowed to do as they want. That's why they are a child, otherwise they will be an adult. They will reach the age where they will make those decisions. But as long as they are children, they need to be transformed. You also find, back then, churches or religion was a factor.
Actually, I wanted to go back and back then we used to find that the religion handle stand. They had their roles. You wouldn't be back then go and misbehave there out there and expect to find yourself in the church. Some of those the religious leaders that we have, they are like the same society that we have. They are not like, they don't really stand with their religious principles. Has the church failed?
I think the church, the people who are in the church are the same people in the society.
Exactly.
So whatever the problems are in the society are also within the same churches. Okay, back then the churches were fewer, and all congregations, you find every single person then was in a particular church. Today, you will find that people don't go for churches. You find Sundays are the best time for going for outing. Sundays are the best time to go in, seeing your Mpango Wakando. Sundays are when you do all other stuff. Okay, it's no longer the day of worship for Christians. Okay, so the church has failed, and the church itself has its own problems. Okay, because we are also having churches that, honestly, they are misleading more than the immoral people of the society. So the church has failed. In fact, I think the church took a leave long time ago, and they are nowhere to be found. Yes. They are only there to collect whatever they can collect. Yes.
What about those parents? Because you've talked about the Sundays being the best day for parents to go for outing.
Yes.
Because you'd happen to say that Sundays, almost every restaurant is so full.
Absolutely.
Without parking.
Yes.
And those that are inside there are religious or Christian parents with their children inside.
Yes.
It has really bad. We'll just go for a short break. Our beloved viewer, you've heard that parenting and drugs has really caused a very huge part in drugs abuse among the teens. Don't go away, because we'll come back after this short commercial break with our audience. I'll give them a chance to ask their questions. Don't go away.
Taste the feeling.
At the Nairobi Institute of Business Studies, we take lessons from the ever-changing world of business and apply them to what we know best, imparting knowledge. Like this pencil, we all leave a mark. For over 10 years, we have left a mark in graduates from all walks of life across the country. Like the nib of this pencil, we believe that hard work makes us sharper and gives us an edge over the competition. At NIBS, we nurture intelligence for business success.
Welcome back to the show. This is Teens Talk, where we talk about matters that are affecting our youth. And for those who have just joined us, I'm your host, Lilian Muhia, and we've been talking about drug usage among the teens with our guest here, our counselor of the day, Mr. John Mwangi. Remember, you can send in your request, your concern, your comment through our SMS number, which is 33577. You can find us at our social media platforms at NIBS TV, Instagram, Twitter. All of them you can find us at NIBS TV. And as I promised you earlier, we have our audience with us today, and they have a few questions that they want to ask our guest of the day. Habari zenyu? You're good? Yes. You've been following the program, right?
Yes.
It's your time to ask your questions. Yes, at the back?
Yes, I have a question. My name is Atenchukefu Karaja from Yale County. I would ask to ask Mr. John Mwangi a question. There is a friend of me who is very addicted by drugs, using alcohol and bang and cigarette, all those kind of drugs. Now, the guy is very wishing to stop using the drugs. What can you advise that guy to do or to start or the process of now stopping using those drugs, because he is willing, but it seems he is very addicted. What can you advise now, or what can he do then?
Thank you so much. Yes?
Okay, I'm very fan from Nairobi County, and I needed to ask, you, Mr. Mwangi, you just talked about parenting. Parenting being the big cause of why kids are involving themselves in drug abuse and drug substances. I wanted to ask, what are the remedies that parents should take in order to stop, to help their children to stop these drug case and everything?
Thank you so much. Yes?
My name is Maureen. I have a question. Were the drugs
during the ancient times? As in, were there accessibility of our old parents getting to have some drugs, like unlike these modern days?
Okay. The last one, at the back?
My name is Veronica from Nakuru County. I would like to ask Mr. Wang, according to your opinion, if you're in the government position, which measure or remedies do you take to make sure that these drug substances are limited in the country?
Thank you. And the last one?
Okay, my name is Amy from Nairobi County. I would like to ask Mr. Wang, you just talked about tertiary institutions being the budgets of drugs. What recommendations can you give to those tertiary institutions to make sure that's not the budget for the drug abuse?
Thank you so much for those questions. They are really nice questions, especially when they come from the teenage youth. And coming back to Mr. Mwangi, from the first one that you have, it was sent by that guy from Nyeri. The advice to a friend of his who is an addict of drugs, especially the alcohol and the bag.
One important to note is drugs are chemical substances. So once the body is exposed to those chemical substances, it develops what we call dependency. You find somebody, for them to be considered to be an addict, is when their body cannot work or function properly without them taking that drugs. In such a stage, somebody is in that very serious stage, that's a medical condition. So he will require medical attention, because for every of these drugs, there is something called the antidote. If somebody is alcoholic, he is taking alcohol, there is a drug substance which is less potent, not as strong as the alcohol, that they are given to in the hospital, and they are taken through a process of rehabilitation. So it's a question of reducing the dosage. So they normally are not expected that today they were addict, tomorrow they wake up and they be sober. So that's why you find there are steps, like 9 different stages. So such a person will require psychosocial support. He will require medical attention, and of course he will require an expert. There are various rehabilitation centers spread around the country. I am aware that they are not enough because they are depending on the problem that we have. But you also have the medical hospitals. Because such a person will need to go to a medical hospital. He will be taken through various drugs, which will reduce his dependency on them. Because if he has admitted that he wants to be assisted, because that is the first step, for them to identify that they have the problem, and for them to accept help. Because not everybody is willing to get help. There are those who definitely continue everything. For such person, they need medical attention, psychosocial support, and they need to go to rehabilitation.
So in short, what you are saying is all about a process and accepting that, yes, this is how I am, or this is what I am at the moment, and I'm willing to change.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Then there is another guy there who asks about parenting. What is the remedy of the parents in raising their children? Yes, they have failed in this. What are they supposed to do to change the situation?
It's a question of priorities. You will find these parents report work at 5 every day, and they leave work at 10. They will do so for the 5 or 6 days in a week, 360 days per year, multiplied by 20 years. They will not fail to report work.
Yes.
Yes? Whether it is raining, whether it is sunshine, they will report work. But when it comes to their children, you find a kid in nursery school or baby class or lower primary, the parents want to do that. They want them to go for boarding. Okay? When they cross for school, when they are told that they go back to the mother, to go to the home, the parent that is the most stressful period of his time. Because what do I do with this kid?
I don't know them.
I don't know them. They are strangers. They want, okay, for many of these kids, they are brought up by 2 people. The first one is the house girl. The second one is cartoon. So they are either there, you find they go and subscribe to all the cartoon channels that are there in the world, and they put the kid there to watch cartoon and come in the evening. It's a question of priority. If that kid was as important as the work they reported to, because at the end of the day, your children will never inherit your job. Okay?
Yeah.
And mostly because
But maybe they are doing that because they want to raise these children in a better way. They want to have a life, they want to give these children the life that they never had.
They
Maybe
might.
that's why they are doing that.
they might in terms of money, but they lose the kid eventually. So it's not a question. What parents need to understand, the best legacy that they will leave with their children. Okay?
Yeah.
Because the children will not inherit their work, they will not inherit their social status. Their children whose parents were big men and big women in this country. But they themselves, they drop in the history. You don't even know where they are. Most of them have drugs. You even find some of these drugs are very expensive. And because they need to be sustained. You find even the parent contribute in buying of these drugs. Because when the kids become dependent and they don't have a source of income, they will get that money from the parent. And some of these kids have known how to terrorize the parent. Okay? In fact, there's one child who once told me that his parents are IDPs. So I asked, what is this IDP? And he explained that this is an internally displaced parent.
Hey.
So he's not at home, he is displaced, he is at work. He gets all the money. So some of these kids, they are just crying out for help. Yes. And they get that through their friends. Yes. So they are friends that can better describe the child than the parent. Yes.
It's exciting. What about the case of the parent who are like, I've been raised by a single mom. I don't have a father figure in the house. Or the absentee parent. You find that this child was raised by a nanny or a one parent. So he has access or she has access to anything. Any sort of immorality.
There could be sad stories, sad cases where one parent has passed, unfortunately. But you find that child is still brought up, and he grew up properly. And there is another child brought up by both parents, and he is worse than the one who was brought up by the single parent. So it's not a question of whether both are there, because whenever one is missing, the other parent has to do double the work. So if he is a single father or a single mother, he has to do twice the work that he would have done if they are two. So being single, it could be by accident, it could be by coincidence. But even where single parents have brought their kids, there are kids that have been brought by single parents and they are not using drugs. There are those who have come with those big, large families and they are taking. So it's a question of what the parent does in the little time he gets with the child. If the child is the priority of that parent, priority not meaning spoiling them, but knowing that this child needs to be brought up in a way that they could sustain themselves. They are teachers, they are taught values, they are taught morals. And these ones are taught when the child is young. Unfortunately, as I told you, when they are young, they are with Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
They are Nicodemium and others. So if they are
Jim Jam, all
cartoon,
those.
if they're in cartoon, the only thing they know is those funny noises of cartoon. So unfortunately, those times when the child is being born, when they are small, it's only when they can be molded. And it's only when you find, in the absence of a parent, let's say they don't have a father, but does this mother or this father have a social group? Okay? You find most of them they don't. Because if they say they have friends, they have relatives, they go to churches, social places, they will be the child will still get the father figure. Yes. There is always a father figure somewhere for each kid. Even if that means the uncle or the grandfather, there is a father figure or a mother figure.
What about, still on parenting, the question of that young lady? If I may ask this question, these parents have abandoned their children in one way or the other. And probably when they are in school, the teacher knows this child better than the parent. Because in a situation where a child is taken to a boarding school, the teacher knows this child better. And when they close the school, this child becomes a burden to their parents because they don't know how their mood changes. They don't really know exactly who this child of mine is. I don't know his temperament. I don't know anything about this child. And you find in such a situation, this child, the easiest way for this parent to exclude this child in my presence at the moment is taking them to their grandma in the village, where they learn all sorts of things because the grandmother is just old, she doesn't like or he doesn't know that much. And you find that in one way or the other, this child is like, amepata watu walishai. What about such kind of parents that they like abandon their children to their mothers who are old and like they're not civilized with this modern technology?
I would say those are parents who have absconded their duty. Because these kids belong to these parents. You find that it is easier for this parent to give the grandmother or the grandparents the responsibility because he knows the grandmother brought up the parent properly. But he is now unable to do the same thing for his own child and then he gives them. It is a question of priority. It is about them balancing, finding that this is my child. It is my responsibility. They have first of all to accept that they have a problem. In as much as they want to point all the feedback to the child, which could true because it's the child that will be taking the drug, they themselves, they have to be the role model. They will have to readjust. Okay? They will have to do something in their life to make sure that they know this child. Okay? They take care of the child. They go through the child because this child most of the time are suffering from lack of deficiency, lack of attention. Even the act they are doing so they get attention. And you find currently we have a scenario whereby even the suicide rates among the young people is also very high.
Exactly.
So it's not, this shows that these people have reached an edge whereby they would rather take their life than just continue living the same parent. So they are taking their right so that they punish. They punish so the parent can feel the pain.
And the pain. Wow. And then to the next question, somebody asked about the accessibility of drugs in relation to the modernization that we have nowadays. Back then, there was not that much access to drugs as we have now. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, it is true that in the old ancient times, not only accessibility, even communication was a problem. Today, we are in a technological era. Information is available for any type of drugs that is there. So yes, drugs are now accessible. It is easier to, just as it is easy to move from one country to another country. You know, back then, a journey from Africa to Caribbean, where they were taking slaves, they were in those slaves in years. It will take 1 year to move from Morocco to go to Jamaica. Today, it will take hours. So because these are changes, these are technological changes that are coming with us, we have to accept them and live with them.
So technology
is available.
So technology has really also played a role in the usage of drugs. And to our last question, there's this young girl who asked about the measures that the tertiary institution should impose. Should it find that one or two students, or there is a group of students who has been like involved in drugs, they are selling drugs to the fellow students. What should the tertiary institutions do to try and curb the situation?
One of the things that tertiary institutions need to do is to change their philosophy. Way back, there were institutions of education. So people are going there to get education. They get their diplomas, they get their degrees. But those institutions have stuck to the old ways without realizing that people they are getting now are different. So they have to provide, they have to make an effort to have the services available to those students. It's not a wonder to go to some institutions, tertiary institutions, and you realize they do not have even one single counselor. And they have so many students, but they have not even realized that they need services of counseling.
So as we are lucky, we have one with us.
Yes. So not every institution has invested even in extracurriculum activities. Because a number of these people, a number of them could be saved if they were kept busy. Okay? Instead of them going socializing and being idle and experimenting on drugs, if they were put through a sport programs where they will go and they do other extracurriculum, they will find they have no time to socialize with it, because most of the people who take drugs, we call them introverts. They are people who keep it to themselves. And the drugs is a very secretive, lucrative business. It is not a way, it's not possible for somebody who is very extrovert to get it to people who are using drugs. You find if you want to get drugs, some of these drugs are illegal. Okay? And even the people taking the drugs understand that some of these drugs carry in themselves criminal punishment. So if they want to smoke bangi, they will not smoke at the reception. They will not really smoke at the classroom. They will find those dark bathrooms, dark toilets, dark corners. That is where everything. So the idea is to beat up them.
Yeah.
Provide, also equip the student, the student with information. Give them the skills. Okay, let them understand what is the consequences of it. That doesn't mean that all of them will take to them. However, there are those who will always have a second thought. Okay?
Yeah.
You cannot prevent them from experimenting because they all want to know how does it feel. They will experiment. It is the continuous uptake of the drug that is the problem.
Thank you so much. We'll go for a short break, but don't show that channel. We'll be right back.
Hey, have you seen the new music video that Angela's posted?
No.
Have you seen Angie's profile picture?
No.
She's looking hot.
Are you coming to the party?
What party?
When you didn't get Angela's invite on WhatsApp.
No!
Get out!
No!
My son, what's wrong?
I ran out of credo.
Don't get mad. Get unlimited.
Limited?
Airtel Unlimited. You can WhatsApp, tweet, Facebook, and email. Even after your bundle runs out, you also enjoy calls and SMS to other networks.
Airtel Unlimited. Talk, text, and browse for 50 bob daily. Dial star 54.
Welcome back to the show. This is Teens Talk, and we've been discussing about matters of drugs among the teenagers. And as we wind up the show, because this is our last segment of the show, I have this question from Isabella Naibuya, and she's texting from Laikipia, and she's saying, I learned usage of drugs through my parent because they are not a good source of, Okay, Mr. Mwangi, she's talking about her parents. She learned this from her parents because they've been using drugs. So she lacked a role model in the family.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate
What do you have?
incident. What I would encourage her is that she doesn't need to be her parent. There are children who have had the same experience. They took that among themselves to change the course of their history. It's not unlikely to find a child whose parents were alcoholic and they themselves don't become alcoholic, or parents who are abusive and they themselves become abusive. It's a question of feeling. She can change her life history. He can change her life by taking the steps and making sure that she goes for, if she needs help, she gets professional help, because definitely if parents are still using drugs, they will not give him that help. He needs professional help. She can write another chapter in her life without drugs.
Wow, and to our last question, I guess, we had talked about the government policies, and in relation to the NACADA, the organization that deals with the drugs usage in our country, should they impose measures in maybe screening the students in all tertiary institutions to ensure the number of usage of drugs? Can that be possible?
It will be unfortunate if they were to screen, for example, if the skin and the find this child has used drugs, and then that drug usage becomes a point in that child not assessing that education. We will be doing more harms to them. The idea, possible what they need to do is to find a way through legislation, through parliament, to ensure that the punishment meted on drug trafficker is very severe. Because if somebody is caught, let's say, with peddling drugs, they go to a court, they are given a fine of 2 million. They will pay through M-Pesa immediately. They say, when can I pay? They will pay and they continue
the business.
Because as I told you when we began, this is a multi-billion industry. You see the peddlers selling the small kilograms or the small pieces. Behind him is a billionaire supplying them in containers. So it's a question of policy. Even one person asked about what the government can do if I was in the government.
In the government, yeah.
It's a question of meeting severe punishment. you make sure that this drug is equivalent to murder, because it's not far from murder. Because in murder there is no room for fine, it is just life imprisonment. You put several of these life imprisonment. The next drug baron will change his business and start selling legal goods.
So unfortunate to such drug barons, because they don't really care for the future and the generation to come. Thank you so much for everyone who has participated in this. Thank you so much, our guest audience, for coming. Thank you so much. When you go back, I believe and I hope you've learned a lot from this. Educate your friends, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend who knows a friend about this. And to you, Mr. Mwangi, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very
We
much.
really appreciate your coming.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. And to our audience, thank you so much. Our viewers, thank you so much for your time for watching this program. It was all about drug usage among the teens. And as always, I've always said, what shall we tell the next generation? Teach one, and the one will teach another too. Let's spread the good gospel. Let's talk about drugs and try to improvise ways in which we can stop drug usage in our society. We have so many messages that have come in. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. But I promise you next time we'll definitely get to consider your question and your concerns. Thank you so much for watching. I was your host, LILIAN Muhia. Until next time, it's a goodbye for now.